Miro welcomes you to a place where inspiration is infinite, where curiosity is the culture, where teams of experts and innovators connect, and ideas find a roadmap to reality. Welcome to Canvas24. Innovation belongs here.
Please welcome Andrey, founder and CEO of Miro.
Hello. Great to see everyone. Welcome to Canvas24. Thank you everyone for joining us live and online today. This is our biggest event, and we are super excited to have more than 100,000 people joining us. We're here live from New York City, the home of creativity and invention, and also the home of many of our incredible customers. In fact, we are very lucky to be joined by some of our earliest customers and some amazing community members today, like Robert Johnson, our #1 all-time leader on the Miro community leaderboard. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. Or Veronique Carbonu, who is an integral member of our community programs, including Enterprise Advocates, Creator and Consultant Community, and the MVP. Thank you, Veronique. Thank you. Before we dive into some amazing updates which the team was working for the last several quarters, let's get back in the history for a few minutes. We've started Miro in 2011 with a very simple idea of bringing a whiteboard into a browser. Here are a couple of memorable moments so you can see how it all started. And you see we used actually a physical whiteboard to create the Miro back in the day. And we launched our first product, Visual Social Network. You see on this screenshot, you can even post it on Facebook back in the day. Good for us. We learned from our customers pretty fast, and we pivoted our product to a productivity whiteboard focused on work-related tasks. Fast forward, a few years later, we realized we are going way beyond the whiteboard and introduced visual collaboration to the world. Visual collaboration contains apps like voting, mind maps, diagrams, and many more. It quickly became the new enterprise category. So we became a pretty sizable business, and we decided to zoom out and think long-term to define our strategic mission. And as always, we started with getting some inspiration from our customers. Given that whiteboard is the place where a lot of innovation starts and happens, we decided that we want to be on a mission to empower teams to create the next big thing. And with that mission in mind, we are evolving our company since then. And to become more inspirational, we rebranded from Real-Time Board to Miro. We picked this name because we are providing infinite canvas to knowledge workers so everyone can realize their full potential. And look at some Miro boards. Each of them is a unique piece of art. Today, we have more than 80 million people who are using our platform across the world. They're working on generating ideas, communicating big, complicated concepts, making decisions. All happens on Miro. And over 200,000 companies in every industry building everything from manufacturing systems, car engines, smartphones and bikes, to running marketing campaigns and philanthropy organizations. I meet so many of our customers every week, and it's amazing to see how they're adapting Miro to continuously innovate and improve. And let's hear from some of our customers right now.
Innovation is about either reaching out to new consumers, to new occasions, or new opportunities for us to grow as a business.
When Miro came to the game, it helped us streamline our process.
When you're working in product, it is very much a situation where you need to know the forest, but you also need to know the trees. You also need to know every leaf. on every tree. Miro gives you that ability.
To be able to hold a lot of information in one place in a way that you can configure it, that it's visual, it's easy to navigate, and it's contextual is incredibly important.
That's where they use Miro for planning, they use it for retrospective and all the agile events. And what that really creates is that collaboration.
We got from project brief to in-market launch in 10 months. It's usually 3 years. Things that would take sometimes months to pull together, you could do in a couple of weeks.
All of our product owners and our scrum masters,
Our agile teams,
The insights team, the marketing team, the finance team,
Miro allows all of that to come together.
A single landing space for all of those.
a new way of working within the team.
It catalysts for innovation.
Our blueprints for complex innovation.
without Miro, I really don't know how we would have gotten through it.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to our amazing customers and to all of you being here with us today. It's a really exciting day for me personally because we are entering a new chapter of Miro. And we have a great team here to talk about what's coming next and to share with you our vision for the Miro's future. And I'm excited to welcome our Chief Product and Technology Officer, Jeff Chow, on the stage. Jeff, lead us in.
All right. Hello, everyone. So great to see you all, and hello, everyone online. This is fantastic to be here. Now, as Andrey mentioned, at Miro, we are empowering teams to build the next big thing. And this is based on a fundamental belief that every organization, every team, is ready to innovate and invent. And there is so much more to be unlocked for teams to meet their full potential. And now we are absolutely obsessed with unpacking what drives organizations and what is in their way. And it's not just leaders, it's individuals. Everyone believes that they can push the pace of innovation. And when we unpack this, and we've talked to thousands of customers, we've looked at every single framework, we've listened to every single TED Talk or podcast about this. We believe that work boils down to three fundamental phases, and we all have a relatively universal vision of how this should work. Now, there's that discovery phase. It's all about that brainstorming and ideation. You want to bring all of the stakeholders together, all of the subject matter experts, people, the voice of the customer, the data, the business impact, and you all are aligning on what are the problems to solve. Then there's that definition phase, where you're looking at the entire solution. You know, there's that business impact, there's that perfect architecture, there's that perfect UX. How do you actually balance the right solution, the perfect solution, with the right now solution? And how do you work together on that? How do you work with your leaders to make that decision together quickly? And then there's that delivery phase, all about that execution. How do you break it down into solvable chunks? How do you ideate? How do you make sure that the customer's voice is heard as you go along so you can iterate along the way? And this loop that you're seeing here is because everything has a twist and turn, and we love the twists and turns, right? These aren't roadblocks, these aren't little kind of divergences. This is about getting the feedback from customers, thinking about that there's a better solution there, there's a better opportunity, right? This sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? This is actually how work happens, right? This is how it's done. Let's just do that, right? All right, easier said than done, because this is actually how it feels. Right, and we call this the dancing spaghetti chart or the heartburn chart, depending on which one you want. But ultimately, this is actually how work really feels like, right? And we boil it down to a couple of things, and I'm seeing the head nods in the audience, so I think we all agree. The first, as much as we want to not work in silos, the tools are pushing us to work in silos, right? Designers are we call this the come here culture, by the way. Right? Designers are saying, come here, please review this. Program managers are saying, please come here, update that task. Engineers, especially if there are engineers in this room, you're probably saying, I really don't want you to come here, but please file a ticket, right? And ultimately, when we actually want to talk about the work, where do we go? There's that digital water cooler. So we're all going here, and then Roger says, first, here's a cat meme. So we're not even talking about the work. And then your boss, what does your boss want to do? He wants you to actually go to a real-life physical water cooler and return to the office, right? And this is all the challenge, and we're all working off of the same project. And now here's the other challenge. We are all working off of multiple steps in that project at one time. We're not just juggling one step in that process. We have so many things that we're juggling. And then even more so, those ambitious projects that you're all working on, those are requiring multiple teams, many teams, teams of teams, all of those stakeholders, all of those people that you need to align on. This is why it feels like this, right? And the reality, though, and the thing that we're so passionate about solving is that we're all literally working on the same thing. We're all trying to work together to solve that problem. So, of course, we believe there's a better way. And we believe that instead of a come here culture, what if we're in an already here culture and we're centralizing around the work itself versus the tools of work? What if we focus as much as we do on the craft of designing and coding to the craft of collaboration itself, right? Making sure that we are refining that skill to ensure that we get everyone to boogie together throughout that process, right? And how do we unlock that collaboration for teams, teams of teams, and others, right? And this is what we are so passionate in solving, and this is why we believe that there are several principles that we set apart to solve this. The first, the canvas, as you all know, is incredibly magical. It's an unlock, and it's not just around that discovery phase, right? That messy phase where we all feel really good about sharing and co-creating, right? It's actually where the work happens. We believe that the canvas can be the connective tissue for the work itself. The second one is work is fluid. We talked about that in that really fun Mobius strip, right? Around like, it actually feels good when you get a new signal from that customer. It really feels good when you actually have that aha, even though you've already defined it. How do we make sure that we celebrate the fluidity of work? Because that is the critical unlock for innovation. And how do you make sure that you're navigating through that effortlessly? And finally, AI. This is disrupting workflows today, and this is a huge opportunity because we can unpack this. It's collapsing steps in the workflow already. How can we leverage this opportunity when we're already upending work itself to rethink fundamentally and profoundly how we work? And today, I'm thrilled to introduce the new Miro. And this is our approach to how we're going to be solving this. And it's called the Innovation Workspace. Let's take a look.
So, what's happened to how we work today? I mean, there's an update meeting about an update meeting from a meeting that was 2 hours ago. How are this many productivity tools productive? We message about the work more than getting the actual work done. The way we work isn't working. We're siloed off, heading off in different directions. Teams are, well, shutting off. Enter Miro, the Innovation Workspace. It's one AI-powered platform for the whole team to move faster together, from idea to outcome. All built on a collaborative, intelligent canvas. You could be stuck with a whole bunch of ideas, but no action. Or your team could use miroAI right on the canvas to stay in their flow, creating product briefs, defining solutions, and aligning on a plan to deliver outcomes. We're on a roll. Let's keep this momentum. Turn ideas into interactive prototypes while using AI to get you there in minutes and get them into customers' hands for feedback faster than ever before. Another all-nighter finding everything you need for tomorrow's review? Nope, easily find it all in one handy space. Some helpful suggestions from our AI sidekick. Amazing. And a quick check-in to make sure stakeholders are feeling good. Woohoo! Let's go! A project from start to finish, all in one innovation workspace. That's a go for launch, my friends. So where to next, team? Innovation belongs on the canvas. Innovation belongs on Miro.
All right, what do you guys think? Yes. So that is the Innovation Workspace. It's the canvas as the underlying foundation with new formats to fluidly shift to meet the needs of the work itself, all geared towards ensuring every team is focused more on the work versus talking about the work and tracking the work. And we're really excited today to unpack all of this, everything that you just saw there. So there are 4 areas that we're going to be talking through, and this is what makes up the Innovation Workspace. We are making sure that you can innovate together, innovate faster, innovate your way, and innovate securely. And we're going to start with innovating together because this is the heart and soul of Miro, and I'm thrilled to do this together with Bree Rogers, our head of product marketing. Hey, Bree.
Hi.
How you doing?
Everyone.
All right, so Bree, we're going to talk about innovating together, and this is all about the craft of collaboration, right? And how do we ensure that everyone in the team feels like they can bring their best selves and maximum impact to the problem to solve? Right? And then more critically, how do we help teams do this across multiple steps of the process, multiple modalities and synchronous and asynchronous collaboration?
That's right. And collaboration is at the heart of everything we build at Miro. And it's all centered around the canvas, which is at the core. The canvas, which is an inclusive space where everyone in every team feels welcome to work how they want to work. So let's dive in and look a little bit closer at how we're helping teams innovate together on the canvas. Now, back in July, you may have seen that we launched new intelligent widgets, such as polls, dot voting, and the people widget. Now, these aren't just fun. They play an important role in helping you facilitate a group and get even that most skeptical team member to lean in and engage. So you can solve problems big and small, like who is the best Friends character? Who's your favorite? Jeff, what do we think?
I'm going to go deep cut, Gunter.
Very deep cut, not even on the poll. But seriously, when I drag that face onto the A in the racy and know that I'm accountable, something about that feels just so much more real for me. We have been so excited to see how our community is adopting these. You can already find a lot of templates featuring them in the Miroverse, and there's more coming every day. So today, we're expanding the range with 4 new ones. Your team will stay engaged and working together on the canvas with these widgets, so let's check them out. First up, we have this alignment scale. This is one of my favorites. It helps you get a really quick pulse check from a group, whether you're sync in a meeting or async sending out a board for some feedback. We also have this spinner widget, which helps you randomly pick a person or an idea. We have t-shirt sizing for tasks and cards that make it just a little bit easier to get that estimates. And then we have a new sticky note stack, so you can always have as many stickies as you need right on the canvas. Woo. I know it's going to save you some time. So these are all built on our Canvas SDK, which makes them super fast to get built, so you can expect a lot more coming over the next few months. Now, another way to keep your team plugged in and engaged is with interactive stickers. So we've had stickers for a long time on the boards, and they're a great way to add some personality and design, but now they're alive, and it is a really fun way for your team to feel like they're all together working in the same space when they're on the canvas. Okay. So these are some great ways to help your team engage and lean in when they're in a sync work session. But how can we make getting into that session a little more seamless?
And I really want to get into that session because I want to achieve the heart explosion.
You just want to push it,
That is incredible.
Right?
Yeah, and so, I think getting into that phase is often a challenge, right? We're cobbling together different tools. We're saying like, hey, let's get back into the flow of work. First, let me set up the schedule of the call, and let's get onto the call, and let's hit the share link, and let's find the link, and then I can say, and you're on mute, and all this other stuff, right? And then the last step of that process is the work itself. So we've been trying to think to ourselves and say, well, actually, how do we actually make sure that the work is front and center, right? The energy of those cursors are already happening. How do we make sure that you can start getting into communication flows, live moments where you're connecting more deeply immediately? And that's why we're introducing video calls on Miro, right? And this is video calls on the canvas, right? This is meant to make sure that you can have those moments where you can absolutely schedule. You can absolutely have those planned moments. But if you're finding yourselves engaging deeply, this is the equivalent of making sure that you can just really quickly, in a step, get into the flow of work, connecting more deeply with your collaborators. And what excites me most about this is what we've already been doing. This is the less friction to get into these moments of flow, right? And we've been using this internally. I've been having my one-on-ones, ad hoc meetings, and I will say it's so subtly transformative. And so that's synchronous collaboration. But let's also talk about asynchronous collaboration, right? Like, this is an amazing moment because, honestly, how many times have you said, did this have to be a meeting, right? And that's the thing. We believe that there's a power for asynchronous collaboration. Letting people work together when they are most impactful. Sounds great. But the one thing that we know about asynchronous collaboration is that it is speed, right? Sometimes it doesn't take as long. Sometimes you're trying to mention someone and you're wondering, did they not forget to answer me? Are they going to respond? Like, where did they go? Are they mad? Right? And do I have to do the, hey, polite ping, right? And all of those things actually erode the productivity of asynchronous collaboration, right? And not to mention, if you are the person that's coming back, say, from a vacation, or there's actually a deep workshop happening, and you walk onto that board, and I think everyone here has seen that board before, and all of the noise, and those comment markers, oh my God. And you just want to slink back into the bushes like Homer Simpson, just being like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to on my vacation. And this is why we are introducing catch-up. And this is AI-powered approach to provide you with a visual summaries of what's changed since you've last engaged, right? It's highlighting what needs your attention so you can prioritize quickly and reduce catch-up time. We think of it as your personal TLDR, right? And this is really powerful. It's powerful for me, and I know, actually, Bree, that I sort of left you hanging on a couple comments.
I was wondering if he was mad at me.
And then she's going to write the pings. But it's also, right, that ability for us all to kind of get back into that flow of work. We're speeding up asynchronous collaboration. Okay, so we've shown you various ways we're helping teams innovate together on a specific task at hand. But how about navigating those various interconnected work streams? Those briefs, journey maps, prototypes, reviews are all dependent on each other, and oftentimes the same team members overlap constantly across those various steps. And so to truly connect the flow of work for teams, we need to be able to juggle multiple tasks and connect those dots.
That's right. And that's why we introduced Spaces back in July. So Spaces are a great way for you to centralize your team's projects and streamline that collaboration across all of those different steps of the journey. And today we're excited to be announcing a few new exciting updates. So the first is sections. So this really helps you organize all of that content in your project into logical groupings. We're also adding the ability to add third-party files and pin them into your space. Now, we know that not every piece of work that your team does happens in Miro, so we're adding the ability for you to add third-party documents, presentations, or even dashboards like this one from Power BI, and in often cases they can be embedded directly into Miro without having to leave. So it saves you all that time of looking for the link. The team's work is all right in one space for them to be collaborating together.
All right, that's amazing. So we just showed you how we are going to help you innovate even more effectively together, right? And it's bringing all the power, helping you inclusively collaborate, navigating that synchronous, asynchronous work, and connecting the dots throughout the entire experience. Now, how do we help teams innovate even faster?
My favorite question. I thought you'd never ask. So that's right. So to help me with this section, I'm going to say bye for now to Jeff and welcome Rosanna to help me do some demos.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. So Rosanna's on our product team. Really thrilled to have you here. So we're talking today about speed, because sometimes work feels just so rigid, it's really hard to get things done, right? And why does that even matter? Well, the faster you can make decisions and get feedback, the higher quality those decisions and those outcomes are. Because when you spend days moving from one step to the other, you lose track of what you were even reviewing in the first place. All that context gets lost. And that's what really slows things down and helps you, really decreases the quality of the outcomes. Teams need to be able to move fluidly from idea to outcome and back again. And there's so much friction in that process, and frankly, your tools aren't helping, right? We have all these specialist tools that have built that come here culture. Everyone's in their little space with a wall up, and it's not creating a place for teams to come together and do that work together. And really, sometimes you don't need a really heavy tool. Sometimes you just need to be able to work in different formats. We believe that you should be able to move from messy work to structured work and back again as many times as you need to in a project. Because work is not about just checking off a bunch of tasks on a list. It's a series of fluid and iterative steps. Now, the Canvas that you already know is great at helping you make sense of big projects and big ideas. And today, you can already take those and move them into structured formats like diagrams or presentations in Miro. Well, today, we're introducing you to 3 new formats. First up, we're going to talk about docs on the Canvas. So I think that everyone can relate to that moment when you've had a big workshop, it's so productive, everyone's super engaged, and then someone's job is to go and take all of those great ideas and write down the next steps in the notes, right? You have to translate that into a narrative. It is so painful to do this work. I know that when it's my job, I always procrastinate. So when you slow that process down, though, you do lose that context. You forget what you were even discussing and what those key decisions were. Now, Docs is a lightweight text editor that lives on the Canvas, so it's always connected right to your work. Rosanna, can you please show us how it works?
Of course. So let's imagine we've run a productive brainstorming session, and the team has generated a ton of great ideas. And I can see them leaving their reactions using these interactive stickies. Now, who would have thought people were so passionate about two-factor authentication? So this is typically the point where the workshop ends, the team's still riding that high, but for me as the product manager, it's that head in hands moment where I'm thinking, how on earth am I going to take all these ideas, synthesize them, and transform them into a product brief? However, with miroAI, that's no longer a problem. With just one click, we've taken a process that typically takes hours, if not days, to create, and reduced it to just a matter of seconds. And so what you can see is happening here is we're taking all of the ideas and stickies on the canvas and using AI as a prompt to generate a project brief. And this doesn't just work for project briefs. You could use it to create a research synthesis doc, meeting notes, or more broadly, just to summarize a bunch of content on the canvas. And let's say, on reviewing this content with Jeff, a few more ideas are brought to the table that we've raised off to the side as stickies. I can easily drag and drop these ideas into the doc, converting them into bullets in just one click. We can also add additional content types, such as a visual, maybe a video that helps tell a story of the customer problem, or even a synced copy of a diagram we created during discovery. So we have this modern real-time text editor with all the features you know and love, such as formatting, spelling and grammar, and checkboxes. But now I've got this polished doc, I really want to share it out with the rest of the team to get alignment and additional feedback. And here, I really want people just to focus on the content of the doc. And so I enter into full screen mode. And here you can see my team is leaving comments and suggestions in real time. So we've taken this traditionally solo, multi-stage, and time-consuming process and reduced it to one single step, collaborating and building a product brief as a team.
What do we think? Pretty exciting. Thank you, Rosanna. It is so exciting to see docs coming to life on the canvas. But we know that work doesn't just get stuck in those moments when you're transitioning to a narrative, right? We've heard time and time again from you that you wish there was a simpler way to move the work you do in Miro into some kind of tracker. Now, today you can already use a Kanban in Miro, you can import tasks from other tools or create a card, but we thought we could take it one step further. So meet tables on the canvas. Now, this is a simple but powerful way to bring some structure to your teamwork, because tracking is going to be more powerful and more effective when it's closer to the work itself. What's really exciting is that the data that underlies the table stays in sync across boards, so you never have to worry about finding the latest version. Rosanna, can you please show me how you would use this?
Sure thing. So this is Tables on Miro. I'm using it today to manage my product backlog. And I've configured it with a series of column properties necessary for me getting the job done. As a PM, it's hard to keep on top of all the various streams of work contributing towards a project. But with Tables on Miro, I can easily add the engineering work from Jira with the work of design, marketing, and analytics all in one place, which completely transforms the visibility of the project. And I can add and sort by priority. And now that I have my prioritized backlog, I really want to start thinking about how I map this work over the course of the quarter. And so I switched to a timeline view to help me sequence and prioritize this work. And here you can see just how easy it is for me to compose these unique views and workflows, all whilst the underlying data remains in sync. But the key is that the table lives on the canvas. And so in the unlikely event of scope creep, and it is unlikely, right? Yeah. All I need to do is click one button, and boom, the table lives on the canvas in the context of the rest of the team's work. And so we can brainstorm together to raise the right Jira task and drag it in, immediately creating a new record. And as I adjust the bar, it updates the dates directly in Jira. How cool is that? Finally, tables stay synced across multiple boards. Now this is transformative, because as any PM knows, the details you communicate with your team differ from the details you communicate with other teams, or even leadership. And today our only option is to take a screenshot, or worse, recreate the information in an additional format. And then the game of keeping everything in sync begins. But with tables, it's super easy to create a customized view of my plan, add it to a stakeholder presentation, all whilst the underlying data remains in sync. And this is where Spaces comes in real handy. I'm no longer running around asking where the latest version of a doc is. All resources to do with the project are stored in the same space. And so here you can see just how easy it is for me to add a customized view of my plan. And I have also added a table view of that exact same backlog. And so in a scenario where I want to raise a particular task for discussion, I can easily drag a record from the table onto the canvas, transforming it into a single data card, all syncing back to the core data source. So we've taken this long process that has got lack of visibility, and we've transformed it into this single source of truth where we can all collaborate. This is Tables on Miro, and we can't wait to see how you use it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rosanna. We are so excited to be sharing all these updates with you to help keep your team collaborating no matter what phase of work they're in. Whether it's a doc or a table, as you saw, you're always just one click away from the canvas. So that retro, your brainstorm, your research notes are always right where you need them. And even better, as you saw, they all work together, right? So you can drag and drop one into another, which saves a ton of time. So when the team is brainstorming, the PM is writing the brief, the eng manager is managing the backlog, that's all happening in one space that can be accessed through a single link. So thank you, Rosanna, for that. And now I would love to introduce Tony, from our head of AI, to talk a little bit about how we can help use AI to move quickly.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome, Tony. All right, so Tony, we've been talking a bit about all that friction and the way that teams get slowed down when they're moving from unstructured work to more structured work. But we know that's not the only place where teams slow down, right?
No, that's right. It's really not just about moving across formats. I mean, all of us are also painfully copy-pasting our way between discovery, definition, and delivery. And that's pretty broken, right? We believe that AI can do much more to streamline this workflow and accelerate the way you work. And the thing is, every single day, 12 million stickies are dropped into Miro boards. That's 12 million human IDs living and breathing on the canvas. That's why we strongly believe that your canvas is the prompt for AI to co-create with you and accelerate your workflow. Our vision is for AI to help teams accelerate this workflow and reduce the time it takes between getting an ID and having a product you can give your customer to try. And the thing is, time to market is critical for all of us. And we think AI will accelerate this by 10 times or more very soon. And we also strongly believe that for AI to even greatly enhance your workflow and accelerate your workflow, it needs to be tailored to your organization. Now, over the past 4 months, we've met with CTOs, CIOs across big tech companies, and the message is consistent and clear. For AI to create more value, you need to understand your organization and use your own AI models. On top of this, if you can use your own AI models, you can squeeze more value from your existing AI investment. That's why now we are going to enable you to bring your own AI to Miro. What this means in practice is that to begin with, you'll be able to power your Miro experience with your own OpenAI key, with your own Microsoft Azure OpenAI key, soon after, Google Gemini, Anthropic Cloud, and Amazon Bedrock. And this is just the first step towards really enabling you to bring your own custom AI models inside of Miro. I said earlier, the canvas is the prompt. It's where all the work is created. And AI is already able to create tons of value on the canvas. You can already use AI to generate IDs, generate stickies, streamline brainstorming sessions, generate images, diagrams, illustration, and more. In July, we've also announced sidekicks. Miro take on AI agent that lives on the board and collaborate with your team. We have a sidekick to help you with product marketing, a sidekick to help you with product leadership, and more will come later to help your team with specialized skills. As Rosanna just showed you, you are soon also going to be able to generate documents in Miro. But we're not stopping there. There is one key pain point that we've noticed across all our customers. It's the moment when you want to turn an ID and visualize it into some artifact that you can share your team and your customers to get feedback. It's this first product draft, this first design stage that's so painful to everyone. It always takes so long, right? Even mocking up a first draft can take weeks. And with the lack of design resources, this gets even worse. On one side, you have product managers and product leaders frustrated by the long turnaround and delays. And on the other side, you have designers that are just delegated to push pixels instead of creating value for the customer using the holistic toolset of design. That's pretty broken. Everybody suffers. That's why today we are thrilled to announce prototyping in Miro on the canvas powered by AI. Let me show you how it works. So I'm on my Miro board. I have a PRD, which Rosanna generated just earlier, and we have a bunch of stickies defining what exactly we're trying to build. We also have a few ideas from the team, which have been voted with our dot voting system. The first thing I'll do is that I'll ask miroAI to supplement these ideas with an AI sidekick. Now I have this virtual product leader on the board enriching the work of the team with some more ideas. Thank you, sidekick.
We've got a lot of ideas today.
Really creative. Awesome. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pick our document. I'm going to also select the stickies, and I will pick the best voted feature ID from the team. And I also pick one from our AI sidekick, so it's not, it's not just people. And now I'm going to ask miroAI to generate me a prototype. I can select the device type. I want this to be a mobile app, and I want this to be a prototype, not just one screen. And the AI has already the context of the board, but I can supplement this with some more information on the prompt. I want vibrant colors. I want this to be a dark theme. And as we've all dreamed to say to our fellow designer, make it pop. And I press generate. And it's all the way there. There we go. Now, this is not like your vanilla AI feature. There's a lot going on under the hood. We use the context of the board and the prompt to compose this experience. All the screens, the different UI elements, how they relate to each other, the visuals, the context, the illustration, all the text. And we put it all together into one comprehensive interactive flow. Why does this belong on Miro? Miro is collaborative by nature. It's easy to use. And we believe that the first phase of a product draft, the first phase of prototyping, should be open, inclusive, and collaborative. And Miro is the best place for product managers, designers, developers to come together and co-create in a Miro board. And it's easy to use by design, so you can even co-create with your customer on the Miro board. So instead of having to wait days to turn your brainstorming session into visuals, it's usually going to take a few minutes. So the goal here is really to streamline everything from visualizing ideas, collecting feedback, and streamlining the process across discovery, definition, and delivery. And I can see our AI is really like maybe having a lack of caffeine this morning in New York City. There we go. So we have our welcome screen, onboarding, and then you can see like a few dashboards relating to a financial app. And what I can do now is that, it's a Miro board, so everything is interactive, everything is editable, sorry. And what I will do now is that I will go into the prototyping panel, and I can supplement this prototype with new components. I'm going to want to have an input field here. I'm going to destroy the design, but I'm going to put a toggle switch here, and I'm going to put a button right there. And I'm going to say, get started. And what I'll do here is that I will hook up this button directly to this screen to bypass the first screen. And now when I select the home screen and go into preview, everything's interactive. It's not a static design. I can input text in input field. I can toggle the switches. And of course, I can navigate across screens directly inside of the Miro board. And there's a lot more behind the hood, but I'm going to be kicked out of stage very soon. So this is prototyping in Miro, powered by AI. I can't wait to see what you all are going to build with it. Back to you, Brie.
Thank you so much. Now, this is one of my favorites. I'm not going to lie. I also use this as a marketer to do my own AI websites from time to time. So thank you, Tony. It's incredible what we built. So it's been awesome to see how teams can be using AI to speed up their work on the canvas. Now, you've heard from a bunch of Mironeers already this morning, but we thought it would help if you could hear directly from one of our customers. So before I bring them up, we're going to say thank you and goodbye to Tony, and we'll take a quick look through a video at the great work happening at GE Aerospace.
Well, I was raised by careful hands. Yeah, they made me who I am. So I'll be strong enough, I know, when I head out on my own. So I'm off to see the world. Wanna see what makes it twirl. But no matter how far I roam, you know I'm always coming home. Yeah, I'm always coming home.
All right, that video never gets old. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Sama Kanbour, Senior Director of AI at GE Aerospace. Welcome, Sama. Thank you, Brie. We're so happy to have you here today. Maybe you could start by telling us a little bit more about GE Aerospace and also your role there.
Thank you for having me, Brie. So for those who don't know, GE Aerospace is an aircraft engine manufacturer and services leader, and we've been innovating the propulsion system for the last 100 years. Most commercial airlines like Delta and American use one of our GE engines. And actually, every 2 seconds, an aircraft with one of our technologies takes off. In our organization, we have about 52,000 employees that live globally across time zones. And some of them you saw actually in the video. They were not actors, they were really employees. And they're focused on inventing the future of flight, lifting people up, and bringing them home safely. And as for me, my role is currently, I lead the responsible AI strategy for my company, which is all about defining and executing that strategy. A lot of it includes developing our environment, our team, and as well our infrastructure, so we can innovate safely with our customers and serve them and their needs. And a lot of what we do is use Miro to help us innovate in this area.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Can you tell me a little bit more around, we've been talking about AI, how Miro and AI are helping you with the challenges that you guys are facing?
Yeah, so in engineering, we see real potential where AI co-innovation addresses some of our customer needs, specifically around search, documentation, as well as simulation and generative design. And so we have about 10,000 engineers, and something engineers struggle with is listening. And so...
It wasn't me.
Yes,
say that.
So AI and Miro have been helping us become better listeners, and I'll explain. A big part, a muscle that we're trying to practice is called the customer-driven approach. It's based on the book, which is called the Innovator DNA and Methods, which is all about putting the customer in the central and then really identifying multiple customer ecosystem, going through multiple interviews, about 50 to 60 interviews, going and gathering their insights, their pain points, building their journey lines. And a lot of it is really about building that intimacy with that customer and listening to their pain points and humanizing them. And so Miro and AI have been helping us synthesize and understand their pain points better so that we talk about this idea of innovators get to innovate and customers get to validate.
I love that, and I love that customer centricity is so core to how you approach the problem solving. It's something we care a lot about at Miro. Could you share maybe a little bit around your discover, define, deliver process and how Miro fits in there, how it's been helping?
Yeah, let me share a specific example. So we're currently focused on reverse engineering our cost of quality within engineering. And we've been trying multiple attempts trying to address this problem over the previous years. It's a quite complex problem. It involves many players, and a lot of it's about really doing a very thorough analysis of our non-conforming hardware. And so as a result, we often end up in a sea of pain points. And sometimes it's very hard to distinguish between problems and problems we're solving. And so, and sometimes it's very hard as well to identify among these pain points which one are shark bites versus mosquito bites. And so, as a result, what we tried to do is using Miro and AI, we built a virtual Obeya room, which allows us to articulate the journey of those pain points, and as well as we interviewed around quality engineers, regulators, inspectors, all the way to IT and finance folks to understand their perspective on this problem. And so this allows us to articulate a holistic view of that problem and reveal the right pain points and solve the problems we're solving. So that we don't end up creating countermeasures that either don't stick, don't produce results, or worse, they end up solving the wrong problem. And specifically, another really cool thing about Miro is also it helps us share our story with the rest of our organization. We call this the Kamishibai boards, so that other folks across the organization that are trying also to innovate can learn from those best practices so we can scale those best approaches.
That's great. I think I'm going to steal that mosquito bite, shark bite one. I love that. Thank you so much, Sama, for taking the time to join us today. We are so thrilled to partner with customers like you, like GE Aerospace, and grateful you could be here with us today.
Thank you so much, Bree.
Awesome.
Thank
you. Okay, so we've seen how to innovate together and faster with docs, tables, and prototyping, all powered by AI. So coming up next, I am going to welcome back Jeff, and Daniela is from our product marketing team to the stage to talk about innovating your way.
Woo! Oh, I'm not supposed to woo. Got it. All right. So a huge thank you to Sama for joining us. I've loved talking to GE Aerospace and learning what makes them work, how they collaborate, and honestly, their unique cultures and what makes them work their way. And that is fundamentally the goal at Miro, right? We don't want to build a platform where you have to bend your way of working to our way of working. We want to make sure that we are creating a platform where you can compose it to your ways of working, right? And that's why innovating your way is so foundational. And there's really two themes that we're going to bring together here: your workflows and your tools. Now, let's start with your workflows. Now, this is exciting, especially for our people in this room who have been such great contributors to our platform. We have over 6,000 public and private apps built using our APIs and SDKs, right? And then more critically, without even coding, we have over 5,000 templates created by our amazing community, the Miroverse. And this is really the foundation around opening up the aperture on all the ways of working, all of the art of the possible. And then through our custom templates, organizations have tens of thousands of custom templates. This is helping organizations scalably deploy their workflows, their way, to the entire organization. This is productivity at scale. And what we're really excited about is everything that we just introduced, right? Those tables, the prototypes, the video calls. These are Lego blocks that we are so excited to see what you can build with this. This is expanding the art of the possible of all of those workflows you already have in your organization and what can be done through that experience. And what we're trying to do is even connect those experiences even more deeply together. So we're introducing customizable action shortcuts. Now you saw that in Rosanna's demo, that generate product brief. But what if you could edit that card, enter your own prompt, make sure you're transforming it the right way, and making sure that you can then put that in a workflow so that it expands all the way through the experience. What if you very basically wanted to create a simple shortcut because you don't want your team to hunt and peck for all those different areas, right? This is about building custom templates that feel more immersive, feel more connected through the entire experience. And we're so excited to see what the Miroverse, what our entire community and what organizations can do to unlock that productivity, putting AI at your fingertips. Now, your workflows are only possible with also your tools, right? And we have over 160 integrations available out of the box. And this includes multi-point integrations across big productivity ecosystems like Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. And we just launched our Miro integration with Microsoft Copilot. Incredible effort from the team. And we also have an amazing integration with AWS, with CloudView, where you can visualize your entire cloud architecture in minutes. And on the canvas, we're bringing even more of your tools where the work is happening, right? The embed experience you've all known and loved, we're incorporating that deeply into Spaces. So now, as Bree mentioned, within Spaces, you can get to third-party documents, like here, Power BI, and immersively stay in that experience. And critically, you can interact with it. You're never leaving Miro. You're in the workflow. You're connecting the dots throughout that experience. And even more critically, when you see that dip, and some of those charts are giving me heartburn, you can work the problem. You can click Ideate on Canvas, right? And you can go into the experience and work the problem together. We are collapsing where you're working in terms of pivoting different tools and making sure that everyone can work the problem together. And that's third-party docs and Spaces. And that's embed support. But also, we have one other deep integration that we absolutely love, is making sure your systems of record stay up to date. And one of the most popular approaches on this is with Jira, and our bidirectional sync to keep those systems of record up to date. And what we're really excited about is bringing all of those composable workflows that we just talked about with that to create immersive collaborative experiences. Now, Daniela, I'd love for you to share with us how you might pull that together for a sprint plan.
Sure, Jeff. So what we have here is an example of a workflow that we've composed to meet a sprint planning use case. We've got the Kanban on the board because we need to keep track of the backlog. We've added the story points widget because that's what we use here at Miro, but of course you can use whatever you like. We've added the people widget, so it's more easy for us to assign tasks. And over here, we've added a handful of counter widgets that we've been able to configure without having to write a single line of code to keep a sum of the story points that are added to the cards live during our sprint planning session. So essentially what we've created here is a capacity planning insight that's live and lives on the canvas. And the counter widget and the Kanban and the story points, everything I've showed you, they're intelligent, which means they recognize and relate to each other. And these, and many more, can be composed to any workflow to meet your needs and your ways of working on the canvas. So I'm happy with how this workflow looks. Let's go ahead and join the team in the video call. Hey team, nice filters, okay. So it's very retro Instagram, don't you think? Okay, so here we all are on the canvas, collaboratively planning out our next sprint. You can watch as tasks are assigned, as counters are allocated, as story points are allocated, the counter widget goes up. And everything we're doing is automatically getting updated back in Jira. Our system of record is updated without anyone having to leave the canvas. And what I love about this is that we haven't just created a sprint planning application on Miro. We've taken the power of Miro, composed it into a workflow that transforms what was previously quite a static single-player experience into the rich, multiplayer, collaborative one you see on your screen. Back to you, Jeff.
That's amazing. What do you guys think? This is the power of deep collaboration on the canvas, but not at the discovery phase. This is the delivery phase, and this is what's so exciting. The teams are still working together throughout that entire experience. Now, I'm excited to introduce two new partnerships with very unique integrations in that experience. And the first one is with Glean. Now, one of our biggest challenges that we see navigating through that discovery, definition, and delivery phase is around having the company's knowledge at your fingertips. Oftentimes, we're recreating the wheel around insights that already existed, right? The number of times user researchers being like, man, we already did that study, and it's just not available when you need it the most, right? All that data that you could use to make a more informed decision. And so with Glean, their WorkAI platform connects to over 100 applications to help you discover information and automate tasks. And merging Glean's WorkAI with our Innovation Workspace means new opportunities to ensure you have your company knowledge at your fingertips to not just surface relevant documentation, but immediately incorporating them into our new formats, such as docs, tables, diagrams. This is the future of AI-driven information retrieval. Information you can leverage at your fingertips when you need it, and reducing the steps in the process. So thrilled to be partnering with Glean. Now, the next one we're excited to introduce is our new partnership with Adobe. Now, this is one area where we have an absolute shared passion. That phases of collaboration and the creative process, and how do we make it more efficient? How do we make it more collaborative? How do we make sure that the flow feels intuitive and intentional? And so today we're bringing Adobe Express onto the canvas with an embedded immersive integration that brings collaboration and creation closer together. This integration empowers teams to create, collaborate, and execute stunning creative campaigns and deliverables with a single workspace. Now, Daniela, as a marketer, I feel like this is right in your wheelhouse.
And you're right, Jeff. Okay. So first up, I have to say, it's really helpful as a marketer to have our own section of this space where we can keep track of everything we need to plan and execute this campaign in one place. So here we have the campaign timeline, which is filtered to marketing activities. And over here, we have a canvas that is filled with all the marketing assets that actually make up the campaign. Let's imagine we've just come out of a review of our social media assets with the team. There's lots of bits of constructive feedback, minor edit requests. I'm sure every marketer can relate. But the beauty of Adobe Express on the canvas is that anyone can access Adobe's quick and easy design tools to make all those requested edits. So let's take a look. Here I am in Adobe Express while still in Miro. And while I'm here, I have access to Adobe Express's image, text, video, and AI-powered design tools. For this particular example, I'm just going to go into our brand library and update the image. Maybe someone who looks a bit happier. Let's go with security. And that's it. Change made. And here I am back on the canvas. No more endless back and forth review cycles with your designer. No more downloading images, re-uploading images, logging into different tools. Everything has happened in one place. And like Tony showed us, you're Jeff.
I'm Jeff.
And like Tony showed us with prototyping, when you put creativity on the canvas, when you bring execution closer to the strategy, we all iterate faster and we get to better outcomes faster, all on Miro.
Amazing. All right, what do you guys think? All right. We're helping you innovate your way. We're helping you think of these as all little Lego blocks that you're pulling together to create experiences that supercharges your organization's workflows. And I'm so excited to see what you can do with that.
You know what, Jeff? I hate to say this, but everything we've just shown is so cool, but it doesn't really matter if you're not allowed to use Miro in your workplace. And that's why Miro for Enterprise is so critical.
Oh boy.
That's right. You guys ready for our musical number?
Are we entering our enterprise security portion of the keynote? Let's do
Yes,
this.
we are.
All right. We are going to help you innovate securely. In all seriousness, we really geek out about this stuff. and there's a real reason why, right? With all the customers we talk to, those CIOs, those CISOs, right? They aren't the people who just get joy about sending you certification quizzes and try to trick you in phishing scams, right? Like what they really want to do is empower you to operate faster, with more agility, to really solve problems together, be more nimble, right? And I've never met a person that doesn't want that. And the key here, though, is we have to make sure as we're going faster at breakneck speed that our IP and information is absolutely secure.
That's right, Jeff. Some of the world's largest, most complex, most regulated organizations are doing their critical work in Miro today. We have source code being reviewed. We have security architectures being modeled. We have intellectual property being built on the canvas. And that canvas needs to be secure. But we recognize that security can often feel like this roadblock to the process of collaboration. And at the same time, there are some teams and some types of work that are simply more sensitive than others. So this approach of blanket security controls doesn't really work. And that's why we provide multiple levels of granular configurable security controls so that your organizations can balance their security with their collaboration needs. Out of the box, admins can configure their security controls at the organization level, the team level, at the user level, and with our advanced security and compliance add-on Enterprise Guard, you can even configure security at the board and content level. That means your security posture can flex in real time to the sensitivity of the work that's being done on the canvas itself. And the way Enterprise Guard does this is that it will automatically apply intelligent security controls that you've predefined onto a board when it detects sensitive data. This could be privacy data that's subject to compliance and regulatory requirements, or this could be intellectual property and data that's more unique to you that you can define in the product via keywords and widget types. So that means that board with that top secret internal project that actually shouldn't really be leaving your team, let alone your organization, totally locked down. But that board with the social media assets, let's say, that you have to share with that external agency, go ahead, collaborate freely.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And this is a game changer capability in the collaboration market, right? And we've had great feedback from our customers over the past year, and the product team working on Enterprise Guard has packed even more to that capability, and that is a lot, right? So we're excited for more of you to be able to innovate freely with that peace of mind. All right, so we've gone through the entire experience, innovating together, innovating faster, innovating securely, right? And how are we going to empower you to learn how to leverage all of these amazing new capabilities to take it from here? With that, thank you, Daniela, and I'd love to bring Bree back on stage.
Thank you.
Bree, no walk-on music for that one.
I know, no walk-on music.
Yeah,
it's
it's all right.
Next time. So thanks, Jeff. So as you mentioned, we really care about transforming how teams work together. And when you're trying to build that craft of collaboration, it's more than just the tools you use, right? It's not just a set of features. It's really, at the heart of it is the people on your team and the skills that they're building and how they work. So to help people through this really profound shift, today we're launching a brand new Miro Academy. Here you can find learning experiences on popular innovation frameworks, ways of working, AI, and of course, deep dives on all of the new features that we just showed you. You can also, some Academy fans here, I love it. So you can also earn skill badges. In fact, just this last week, we crossed 50,000 badges earned by community members like you. And today we're launching 2 new badges. We have the Innovation Essentials and the Agile Practitioner badges, which I know was a really heavily requested one. So please join us on the new Miro Academy at academy.miro.com.
Amazing. All right, let's wrap this up. This is the Innovation Workspace. It's a single platform to help teams go from idea to outcome. This vision of the future that we all talked about, right? What we showed you today if you squinted through spaces, you saw us take a workshop and turn that into a collaboration with everyone with the documents format, to turn that into a brief in a matter of days, not weeks. Right? We broke those tasks into solvable chunks with tables, making sure that you're able to commingle that with Jira, visualize it in different ways to make sure that everyone is aligned. You took those ideas and turned it into a clickable prototype in 10x the time so that you can get customer feedback immediately. You then took all of those ideas and advanced diagramming and pulled it into an interactive stakeholder review so that you limit the amount of production time to go to the stakeholder and work the problem with your stakeholders as collaborators themselves. We then broke those tasks down to solvable chunks for development tasks with a truly collaborative capacity plan exercise with bidirectional sync with Jira cards. And then the marketing came in with amazing work to build those amazing assets, and with the Adobe Express integration, making sure that you're able to create the best marketing campaign with the best product solution. And then ultimately, with the Power BI integration and third-party spaces integration, you're able to track that work with the document itself. This is the Innovation Workspace. It's end-to-end, and it's helping you focus more on the work itself than anything else. And we're excited because it's not just building the next great feature. There are so many workflows in the organizations that can be collapsed, can be more collaborative, can make everyone focus more on the work itself. And we're so excited to make sure that you all have your hands on these features and functionality. So I want to send a huge thank you to all of the Mironeers who have worked together to pull this vision to life. Right? This is real. Those live demos were amazing. Right? And this is a cohesive experience that we're so excited about. And to our customers and community members, we are actually going through our own discovery, definition, and delivery phase. Your feedback has been invaluable. We love it. Keep the radical candor coming. It's been amazing, right? And we're so excited to get these features in your hands, right? Most of these features are, actually all of these features are in private beta. Many are already rolling out. And if you want to have a sneak peek on any, please join the wait list today.
That's right. So that's a wrap for us, but there's a lot more to come for the rest of the day. We're done. They're kicking us out. They're like off the stage. But we have a great agenda, seriously. More talks from our customers, community members, and some other Mironeers, great breakout sessions. We are so thrilled that all of you could join us today. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of Canvas.
Thanks, Alan.